We're getting ready to send these 17 coins out to get graded by PCGS. Let's take a look at them and see if we can predict the grades. Hi collectors, thanks for watching. I'm the collector of coins, and that's right, we have 17 beautiful US coins ready to be submitted to PCGS to get certified. I have the application already. I've already filled out the forms, got everything in the appropriate holders with the labels. If you want to find out how to do this, there's another video. I will put a link in the description so you could check out the process. However, this video is about predicting the grade. So we're going to talk about the grade that I think it is, the grade that I hope it gets, and the worst case grade that it might get. And then when it comes back, we will be able to see how well we did. This could be feast or it could be famine. So with that, if you're not yet a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Remember to turn on posting notifications. Hey, leave a comment as well. And please do not tell me that I'm stupid for sending these out. I've already calculated the value relative to what I've paid for it. And frankly, I believe it's worth the risk. Leave a comment just to say hi. You know, I do meet a lot of you at coin shows. Would love to meet more of you. And with that, let's get started. Let me get this organized. I got them spread out. We're going to take a look at these each one by one. And let's see what grade we think this will get. All right, well, you may have noticed that there are two different numbered labels here, batch 01 versus batch 02. And I've split these up based on the service level and the cost of grading based on the value of the coin. Batch 1, we'll get that guy out of there. That belongs in batch 2, are some of the more valuable coins. And so let's take a look at them. All right, we have an 1806 half cent. It's in really nice shape. I've studied this for quite a while. For those who know and have watched the channel, I love half cents because it was the first coin I ever collected, and it came as a gift from my grandfather. That's not this coin, however. This is a different coin that I picked up, came to my table quite a while ago. I've held on to it. I love that 1/200. This is an 1806 no stems variety, and it is common, but it's beautiful. I think this one will likely grade fine 12. Ooh, let's get into condition. You know, it's missing a lot of details in the hair, but I do not see damage on it. Usually a half cents can get corroded. It has wear, but it is, in my opinion, a nice coin. I hope it gets a fine 12. There's a chance it could get a very good 10, but I feel confident that this is going to be at least a fine 12. This next coin is a stunning 1930 Mercury dime. Look at that gorgeous coin. Mild impairments on the obverse, nothing significant. I mean, you see a little bit of scratches on the face. If you look at the reverse, that to me looks like full split bands, highly desirable. And in my opinion, this will most likely get an MS64 grade. There is a chance it could get an MS65. I don't think it will grade lower than MS64. It could get a 63, but I doubt it. So we're going to say MS64, full bands. Maybe it doesn't get the full split bands, but I think it will. Looks like an all original coin with original luster, not cleaned at all. And this one should grade very nicely. This next coin I picked up recently. It's a 1942/1. Do you see the error right there? Mercury dime. It is circulated, but this is a rare or scarce error coin. Highly desirable. I think this could get very fine condition. Worst case, fine 15. Best case, very fine 35. I am hoping it gets at least a very fine 25. If that is the case, then it's a home run. If it gets a higher grade, fabulous. I don't think this has been cleaned. Yes, there is some weird luster on the high points, but I believe that is from normal wear. You get a nice close-up of this coin. I think this is all original and should get a straight grade. All right, this was a recent pickup as well. This is a 1903 Philadelphia Barber Quarter. It is gorgeous. I've studied this for quite a while. I think this could be MS62. There are impairments on it. I don't think it's been cleaned, but here's the risk. Risk is this would get an AU details, which would be unfortunate because it is just a stunning coin. Best case, MS62, maybe MS63. If it gets straight graded MS63, it's an absolute home run. But I do think this is probably going to get, at best, an MS62 or most likely AU58. I do see potentially wear on the leaves there, but it also could be a weak strike. But we're going to take a chance here. Even if this is an AU coin, this has such great eye appeal. Don't think it's been cleaned. I studied it extensively. I do not see any indication of cleaning, although the luster is a little lack. Now, that could be regular toning with silver because there still is luster, and it looks like there's some album toning as well. And we have a 1909 half dollar, also Barber, also from Philadelphia. Very similar condition. I think, worst case, this is an AU details coin. I do suspect that this might have had some cleaning at one point, but it does have luster still, and it doesn't have an artificial polish. Now, my guess is this might have been dipped a long time ago, but retoned. But I also do not see any signs of cleaning. So I think this is going to get, worst case, AU55, best case, MS62. I think this will be likely an AU55 coin. Just a stunning coin, worth the risk of getting it graded. And now we look at this absolute monster. I'm in love with this coin. I am not a big fan of the Barber series, particularly when they're worn, as most of them are. They're not a particularly attractive coin. However, in brilliant uncirculated condition, which this exhibits, it is quite stunning. 1895, earlier date, absolutely a monstrous coin with monster luster. MS64 minimally, right? I think there's a chance this could get an MS65, even though we have a little impairment there. Most likely MS64. I would be shocked if lower. And I don't think this has been cleaned. I see just original luster, great strike. I'm in love with this coin. Okay, rounding out order number one are three 1887 Morgan silver dollars. I like the interesting album toning on it. Yes, there are a lot of impairments on this coin. In my mind, this is classically an MS62. Worst case, MS61. I see just all the details there. Little sign of a weak strike around the ear. I don't see this as wear. Just the high points are not exhibiting any wear. Beautiful 1887. Let's move on to the next 1887. As we said, we got three of them. This one is possibly even nicer. Less impairments, really solid strike. Also from Philly, really cool album toning with the gold. This could get an MS64. I'm hoping it does. Worst case, MS63. Best case, MS65. But I feel good that this is at least an MS64. All original details. A little bit of toning on the wing. That spot is a little less desirable, but it doesn't hurt the grade. And then we have this one, which I think could be an AU coin, right? It still has all the luster. Really interesting toning. Worst case, AU58. Most likely case, MS62 or MS63. I think this is good for MS63, although I do think there's a chance that PCGS will say AU coin. All right, well, we just looked at batch number one, and let's get into batch number two in a second. All right, well, here is the first coin in batch two. It is a beautiful 1910 V or Liberty nickel with some cool toning. I think this is also an album tone coin. I believe this is uncirculated. Now, there could be wear right above the ear, but I don't believe it is. Let's say worst case, AU55. Best case, MS64. I think this will most likely get an AU58 grade, although I am hoping for at least an MS63. And we have a 1936 Buffalo nickel. I think this coin will get an MS62 grade. I don't believe it's been cleaned. There is a little bit of a rim ding. I don't know if that's going to flag it as damage. I think that's just from contact with other coins. I don't think this is AU. There's a chance it could get an AU grade. However, I'm looking at all the high points and I'm not seeing wear, particularly on that hip, right? Look at how pronounced that hip is. All right, worst case AU58, best case MS64, most likely case MS63. All right, here we have an 1878 S Morgan dollar, and I'm going to be candid with you guys. I took MS70 to this to remove some real bad surface dirt. This is an uncirculated coin. There is a chance this will come back MS details. I don't think this will get an AU grade. I mean, there is no wear on this coin. Best case, MS64. So if this does not get tagged as cleaned, which it shouldn't, this is an MS64, worst case AU details. All right, we have another Morgan dollar, 1885 from New Orleans. New Orleans was famous for weak strikes. If you look at the hairline above the ear, it's really hard to tell if that was a weak strike or if it was wear. Worst case, AU58. Worst case, AU58 details. I don't think this has been cleaned. Best case, MS63. I am hoping that at minimum this gets an MS62. We will see, right? We're going to send this out and hope for the best. All right, this 1896 Morgan dollar is really interesting to me because it's got some funky toning. It does have damage over the eye. But to me, that damage looks like a contact mark from another coin rather than damage inflicted by a person. We have a lot of details here. Again, what is this? What mint is this out of? Philadelphia. But look at the details on the breast feathers and look at the interesting red toning on it. To me, this is an all original coin, not cleaned. It's been an album and therefore has the interesting album toning. I think worst case, we're looking at an AU details because of the scratch over here. Best case, we're probably looking at an MS62. Most likely case, MS60 because of that gouge. Hopefully it's not coming back as a details coin. All right, we have another interesting toned Morgan dollar here, 1898 from Philadelphia. Look at the color on this coin. This to me is all original. There's no artificial toning here. This was in an album for sure for a long time. You could still see some luster underneath the toning. Worst case, AU55. Best case, MS64. I am hoping we get an MS64 here. There's some frostiness to it, but let's assume this is going to come back as an AU55 coin. That's the worst case, but let's hope it's MS64. So as we talk about the Morgans, I mean, there is such a fine line between AU and weak strike, right? And you have to really know what to look for. And I can't say I'm an expert at all, but as you see this 1886, look at all the details at the hairline. This is from Philadelphia. This is an exceptionally strong strike, most likely early die state, whereas the others, if they are uncirculated, weak strike, later die state. Again, those two possibly were circulated, but I do like the toning and I do like the eye appeal on the others, whereas this one should get an MS65. Very few impairments. Yes, that nick on the chin will hurt it. Worst case, MS63 because of that nick. Most likely, it will get an MS64, but this should get an MS65. And then finally, we have this coin, which is an 1881 Morgan dollar, and this is proof-like. On both the obverse and the reverse, look at the frostiness in the high points of the coin. Look at the mirror-like surface in the field. This should get, in my opinion, as an 1881S MS62 proof-like. It should. I don't think it will be deep proof-like. Worst case, this gets an MS62 straight grade, but I think this is minimally an MS62 proof-like. I do hope it gets a 63. I think some of the impairments in the main field will hold it back. And then here you can see a little bit in the ear where possibly you have a little bit of a weaker strike. But in my mind, this is an absolute stunning coin. It has to be graded because of the potential upside of the proof-like designation. Well, collectors, we're going to send these two batches off to get graded, and we're going to have to wait a month for the grades to come back. And we'll do a comparison with what my predictions are, what I hope, what I fear, as well as what I anticipate. And we'll see how well I did. Generally speaking, I've been within one grade of what PCGS gets, sometimes lower than they are, sometimes a little higher, but generally speaking, I've been pretty spot on. But I do make mistakes. Sometimes it is hard to pick up cleaning. And at the same time, we all see slightly different things. So with that, when you send coins out to be graded, be really self-aware of what the worst case could be and send it out knowing the possible worst case. That way, you've done all the calculations in terms of cost and value, unless your goal is simply to get it certified, which is fine, particularly if you have rare coins or error coins like that 1942/1. All right, well, collectors, I hope you enjoyed this video. Keep an eye out for all my other videos that are already posted where I show coin grading reveals. And with that, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment, and happy collecting. I hope to see you at the next coin show. And you know, sometimes as you're looking at coins, it can be difficult to remember all the facts about everything, even though there's a CoinFacts website. So I have this coin hunting mat that I create that does put down all the key dates, semi-key dates, and varieties coins to look for when you're coin collecting, particularly if you're doing coin roll hunting. And coin roll hunting is when you go to the bank, get rolls of coins or a box of circulated coins in rolls, and you start hunting through them looking for key dates, semi-key dates, and varieties. So if you don't have a coin hunting mat, consider picking up mine. There's a link in the description below where you can get one.